Hi there, Ryan Rastall here for Golfshake.com, and thank you for clicking on this YouTube video. We are looking at the new DYNAPWR driver range from Wilson. This is something that's been eagerly anticipated. Probably, in the last month I've had more messages about Wilson than I have about any of the brands that we featured, which really tells you what you guys think about Wilson. And certainly I hold that view as well. They are fantastic. Certainly the first DYNAPWR driver was extremely popular. We did really well with it here at the club. We fitted lots of those drivers in both carbon and also the standard as well. And now we can see we have three different models to choose from. So we have the LS, which is obviously in the carbon as well. We have the carbon and we have the Max. So very different players that these are aimed at, and also different kind of ball flights as well. So we'll talk about each of the models individually right now. So the LS model is all about movable weight, more speed and a bit more adjustability, but also a bit of forgiveness in there as well. So we're looking at lower spin here, lower launch, and like I say, with the 12 and 6 gram weight that we've got that we can flip over in here, we can change the spin characteristics and also the forgiveness characteristics of this driver as well. It's not going to be one that they sell absolutely bucket loads of, because it suits quite a small proportion of golfers. But if you're that player out there that likes that kind of smaller looking footprint, that more compact head, and also the ability to switch the weighting around, but really need that lower spin as well, who knows, the LS model could be the one for you. We're going to obviously hit all these in a second and talk a little bit through the data that we collect as well. But like I say, we're going to get probably a little bit less forgiveness with this, bit more kind of shot shaping ability, and also obviously the movable weight story is a good one in there too. In DYNAPWR Carbon, we have a 3 and a 9 gram weight, again, that we can move around, slightly bigger footprint and kind of more forgiveness. This is kind of going to be suit the kind of greatest breadth of the golf market, really, in terms of it's going to be able to be custom fitted in a way that it suits most players, really. So we've obviously got a very different kind of look to the Max that we'll get onto in a second, in terms of the crown there, this kind of carbon effect that we see, and lots of the sole being carbon. So really being able to save that weight, move it around in the head, and make it a little bit quicker is something that Wilson have really focused on with this new range of metal woods. And I think the face sort of design and the etching on there, again, adds to that quality. I think it's got that kind of Titleist-ish kind of look, which is great. And I think in that playing position, it definitely looks a bit like the TaylorMade Stealth that was out a few years ago. And, that's sort of the feedback that we've had from many people. There's been images leaked online over the past month or so, and certainly the feedback has been that. I don't think that's a negative at all. TaylorMade make amazing products, and the Stealth was a particularly good one. I think it's just to do with the red around there and obviously the carbon finish there. But, I still think, Wilson are going to use that red colour because they use it in everything. It's kind of their brand identity sort of colour, so we're going to see that a lot. But I just think this driver looks amazing. Certainly when we went to Dundonald, this was the model that I got fitted into on that day when we were on the range. It performed the best for me. Will it do it again today? Who knows? And we have the Max, which is a larger footprint, much higher MOI, higher launch and spin, and will suit that golfer that really needs that bit more help in their golf game. That being said, I think that we will be able to kind of set this in a way that will suit sort of higher club head speed players and people who maybe want to lower the spin as well. So it doesn't have the same adjustability in the weighting that the other models do have, and certainly is a bit more imposing when we sit it behind the ball, but I actually think it looks great. That kind of gloss finish is really, really good. I think it's going to have tons of shelf appeal. The fact that it says Max on it, it kind of tells the person straight away who this is aimed at. But it's certainly a driver I really want to try again, because it was kind of between this and the carbon when I got fitted. The carbon kind of just spun a little bit lower for me on the day when we were up there at Dundonald. I don't know whether it will do it again today, but certainly I really like the looks on the blend all the way through this kind of family. But there is that bit of a difference here when we look at that. And it's the same in the fairway wood as well when we look at that. If you want to check out the review that we've done, that's on the channel too. But it's more of this kind of gloss finish on the Max product that we see this year. And like I've said in the other videos, I think now Wilson have a product range through driver, through to putter and golf ball, etc., that rivals anybody really in the golf industry now. I think you'd be hard pushed to find really too many products out there that go further than these and are more forgiving than these. And I think the price point definitely helps as well, slightly lower than some of those kind of Callaways and TaylorMades of this world. It kind of suits the majority of player, but also kind of the budget is a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, they're still very expensive, and every product that's out in the market is, but it's kind of a little bit kinder on the wallet, shall we say, when we look at Wilson product. But you get tons for your money here in terms of performance. But we're going to show you all that as we hit those now on the Trackman. And obviously there's videos going on the channel with the irons as well, golf ball, putters, wedges that we've looked at. So everything in this product range, so check those out as well, because Wilson is a brand that is definitely on the up. So we're going to start off with the Max. Obviously biggest footprint, highest MOI, easiest to launch in theory. So like I say, back when I got fitted at Dundonald, I was lucky enough to be sent the DYNAPWR Carbon driver that I got fitted for with this Ventus 6 TX shaft in it. So I've just put this shaft in all the models in 9°, standard setting, and see how they all perform. But in terms of looks, love the gloss look on the top of this driver. Got that kind of red flashing around the back there, and the DYNAPWR D in the middle of the face to help you align it and get that ball there as well. So yeah, I just love the look of it. It's nice, forgiving looking driver, bigger footprint, but still has that kind of nice shaping to it as well. So those traditionalists out there will like the look of this driver too. Right, let's see how it performs. That felt fantastic. Wow, so powerful off the face. They've really done some work with the sound of these over the last couple of years. The engineers at Wilson must have worked really hard, because it's hard to make a kind of high MOI forgiving driver sound good, I think, but that sounded and felt unbelievable off the face. It just looked really quick. I mean, that's gone 318 yards. Very good. This is why, so when I got fitted, I was kind of between this and the Carbon, and there wasn't really anything to split them. I just sort of, on the day when I was hitting it, the ball flight I was getting with Carbon, I just kind of liked a little bit more, but I still think this one looks really good. Just chopped it a bit that time, came out the heel a little bit down the right. That was not a good swing. Distance wise, still over 300 yards. It's in the bushes though, unfortunately. It's a bit more solid. Yeah, I mean, we'll take that all day long. Feels great. This driver feels very, very good off the face. Feels very powerful. Feels pretty forgiving. I mean, I know I've hit that big right there, but it was a pretty horrible shot and deserved it. Again, the distance is great. I mean, the first and third one I've hit there are literally a yard apart. 317 right on top of each other. Ball speed's very impressive. That might be the best of the bunch, I think. Yeah, 325, go on, very good. Extremely good driver, feels very good off the face. I'm obviously gonna hit a load more shots with this and get a really good average, but yeah, I mean, looking at the height, the launch, the spin, very good. DYNAPWR Carbon, this is the exact driver I got fitted for up at Dundonald Links, and now it's a 9° head. Again, same shaft, but with the heavier weight, slightly more towards the face. So that sort of 9-gram one in the front and a 3-gram towards the back of the driver there as well. So in terms of looks, very different to the standard DYNAPWR driver. Still looks great behind the ball. The footprint is very similar, apart from this kind of carbon effect on the top of it too. Let's give it a bit of a hit. That sounds very different, doesn't it, to the Max model, but feels just as good off the face. There's definitely that acoustic difference with the carbon on the sole and also the crown there that kind of changes the sound of that. But I mean, that has gone 329 yards and straight down the middle. Yep, we'll take that every single day of the week. It is a fantastic driver, this. One that is going to rival anything out there on the market. And I actually think this is probably going to outperform some of those kind of perceived bigger names on the market for a slightly lower price point, and I think actually looks better than some of the ones out there as well. I mean, the spin there is super low and it's come off really quick off the face, so hopefully that's going to continue. It's a little bit out the bottom of the club, but I still think it's a pretty decent shot. Just pulled it a bit. Kind of a bit, like I say, bottom edge. Still gone 317 on a horrible strike. Might just find that potentially, depending on what hole you're hitting it on. Right, let's hit another one. That was a better shot. Yeah, it's more like it, more like the sort of shot I'm used to. And again, 321, 294 carry, very, very good. I think it's going to be quite close. When we look at these two drivers, this and the standard DYNAPWR Max, I think in terms of performance, I think this is probably going to be a bit lower spinning, but not much. But I think distance-wise, it's probably going to be pretty close. This might just edge it, looking at these by 3 or 4 yards, but I don't think there's much in it. Again, just feels really good. Little bit out the heel, so it's just kind of cut a little bit more than usual, but it's still absolutely fine. That is as good as I can hit it, I think. Yeah, it's pretty good and it's pretty straight as well. So yeah, very, very good, both drivers. This one just edges it a bit, I think, on the spin. But if you're that player who maybe needs that bit more launch, needs that extra kind of MOI and forgiveness, the Max model could be absolutely great for you. And that's really how this is designed to be. So with the Max being the most forgiving, this in the middle, and then the LS that we're going to come on to being slightly less. So onto the LS. So this, again, 9-degree head, set at 9 degrees. This time I've put the heavier weight at the back to try and make this a bit more forgiving. We can see the footprint is a bit smaller behind the golf ball. Certainly slightly different shape, more of a traditional driver shape. Looks kind of smaller, deeper, but really like the shape of it, really like the look of it. I think it's going to have a ton of shelf appeal, all three of these drivers actually. Let's see how it performs compared to those other two, because they were seriously impressive. Certainly sounds similar, but does not feel very forgiving. I mean, that has come out the toe a bit and it just felt like the face went straight open as I've hit it. Certainly a very distinct difference in MOI between this and the other two models, I think, but let's give it a few more hits. Yeah, it feels very different to the other two, to be honest. And it actually feels quite different during the swing. I mean, it's hard to describe, but the sort of weighting of the head feels a bit different. It feels quite hard to time it. It feels quick though, very quick, and I can see club speed wise it's just jumped up a tiny bit, but I just don't think it's going to be very forgiving. And certainly when I tried it up at Dundonald, I was just hitting it all over the place. Whereas as soon as I went into Carbon, all of a sudden just tightened the dispersion up, the spin was more under control. It's very good. I mean, looking at those first two, the spins are good, but the big slices out to the right hand side, which is not what we want. Slightly better hit, I think. Again, solid. And I think on the days if I was swinging my absolute best, I'd be fairly confident with it. But on the days when I'm not, which is most of the time, I want something with a bit more forgiveness in it. And that's not really what this driver is going to give me, but it's not supposed to, yeah? It's going to be the least forgiving. It's going to be the lowest spinning, lowest launching. It's not really supposed to compete with the other two. It's just another option for a different player. So if you are that guy who hits it out the middle of the face every single time, but really wants the spin to be lower, this could be the one for you. If you're not bothered about, you know, missing the odd one left and right, it could really solve a problem for you. But I think the other two models for me are going to suit 99% of the golfing market. That felt really good. Just pulled it a touch, but I mean, yeah, it's good, but it's nowhere near, well, I'll say nowhere near, it's about 6 or 7 yards shorter than the really good ones I was hitting with the Carbon. So I'm going to hit a load more with this, as well as the other models. I'm going to go back through them again, and then let's have a look at the results. Now that we've had a chance to hit all three of these drivers on the Trackman, like I alluded to before, I've hit them all, but on the range at Dundonald with no data. I did get fitted while I was there where they're using data, but just didn't get to see it really. But when hitting all three of these models, I would say that they're all great in their own way, really, and they're kind of designed for different types of golfer. So when we look at the results here and we can see the sort of numbers that we're getting with each of the three, they're kind of doing what they're designed to do. So if we start at the top there with the LS, so this is the one that we're supposed to get a little bit more speed, lower spin, and that movable weight in there. Well, it was spinning a little bit more than Carbon, but certainly less than the Max. I think that's more down to the fact that I was struggling to find the middle of the club face on this, really. So this is a me problem, not the driver. I think it just doesn't feel as forgiving. My sort of bad strike generally is a little bit toey, and I can leave the face open a little bit because of that, with obviously the face spinning open, but I just wasn't getting away with as many shots here. We can see in terms of the flight, it's actually the highest as well, but I think, like I say, that's more to do with the fact that I was just really struggling to find the middle of the face. The other two models, however, I think are very, very good. I thought they were going to be closer than this in terms of the results, but the DYNAPWR Carbon has sort of edged it. Well, I say edged it, it's 8 yards longer in total, which is very, very good. I mean, I'd have been hard pushed to split them from hitting them on there and looking at what was going on as I was hitting them and the numbers I was getting. I didn't think there'd be that much difference, but we can see on average the spin is that bit higher with DYNAPWR Max. It might be that I can lower the loft on that a little bit and maybe get something performance-wise closer to what I'm getting with DYNAPWR Carbon, which, reminder, I was fitted for that, so it's a driver that should suit me anyway. And certainly in this test, we see out of the three, it's definitely the one that suits me the most. I'm getting ever so slightly the highest ball speed. It's pretty close between that and the Max. The lowest spin. The carry's good at 292 and 318 total as an average is very, very good for me as well. I'd be more than happy with that. And again, it's peaking over that 100 feet mark, which is something I always look at too. So sometimes when I try these drivers that launch and spin a bit lower, I can't get the launch up high enough to get them to carry far enough. So sometimes I have to increase loft, but this down at 9 degrees just feels very, very good. And certainly all three of these models, I think you're going to be really impressed with when you get a chance to try them, because they are a step up again from the previous model of DYNAPWR, which was great, don't get me wrong, but these are definitely better in all aspects, really. I think they look great, they feel better, the acoustics is better, and I think the performance and forgiveness is better as well. But let us know what you think. Do you have the current DYNAPWR driver? Do you absolutely love it? Because it got rave reviews when it came out. I honestly think people are going to love these even more. And like I said at the start of the video, Wilson are a brand that I think are only in one direction. And I think they're going to be on an upward trajectory for the next few years, really. I can see more and more people putting their products in the bag all the way through as well. Not just driver, fairway, hybrid irons. And, you know, they're very much known for their irons. But I think you're going to see more of their wedges, more of their putters, and definitely more of the golf ball in people's bags as well. Let us know what you think. Drop us some comments in the section below. We'll get back to all of you as we always do. And keep watching our content here on the Golfshake YouTube channel to help you play more and play better. See you soon.